gorgeous bloody Sunday. It's very nice out. Hope everybody's chilling, having a good time this weekend, enjoying weather for what it is and enjoying life for what it is because this is all we got. So we have to make the most of it. At least we can try to have a good time and try to enjoy ourselves and live a little, right? So that's where I'm at. Let's go. Let's talk. Let's talk. Let's talk. First of all, before we even get really on in this, I want to do a moment of silence for DMX. We'll be doing this a couple of times throughout the segment, just because um, there's a lot to be discussed in the arena of the man and his life and his legacy. But just a moment of silence for DMX. So yeah, so let's talk about him. So there's an interesting DMX is one of those interesting individuals from his career on MC, the Rough Riders, the early Dark Man X um, music. But one of the things that we do know about DMX and his life is that he was a very tormented man. He struggled. He had demons, and he fought a hard battle with those demons, and he won, and he lost, and he won, and he lost, and ultimately we are where we are now. I think that we're watching a lot of our peers and our heroes not live into their ripe old age. We're not living to see people that we look up to and honor and love get old, and we have to start really thinking about that. We have to really start talking about why that is. What's going on? So what can you imagine a life you achieve the heights of your life, you achieve greatness, you achieve a lasting legacy, but you're still troubled or you're afflicted by addiction, and drugs are still a major part of your life. And of course, when we're talking about drugs, we're talking about that hard shit. We all know people who have been on drugs. We all know people who have experienced hardships from drugs and have gone through their battles with drugs for different reasons. But this particular moment it's just really disconcerting because we I don't think we've learned our lesson. I don't think we as a people have learned our lessons. And I think that that is a very, very, very important lesson that we need to learn. We need to not only learn the severity of drugs and what they do, because we got a lot of people that glorify drug dealing, and we got a lot of people that exploit other lives at the expense of drug dealing. But we don't really think about the impact on a regular basis of what all that braggadocio about drug dealing and drug selling is really impact how it's impacting our lives, how it's impacting our society, our culture, our communities. And we have these individuals who like DMX who were at a certain level of success, and they had all these people who are showering them with love and praising them and identifying them as these great individuals. Yet we could not find a way to help this man with his plight. And yes, every man got to swim his own 9,000 miles. Every man has to go through this journey, to obtain the best part for himself. But that doesn't mean that a support system and that your peers, your like your brothers, your family, y'all got to watch out for each other, man. Y'all got to look out for these people because we're losing these individuals not only because of their own actions, but because of our inaction. And it bothered me more so because in this particular instance, unlike when MF Doom passed away, MF Doom had ailments, had physical ailments, and those ailments caught up with him. Fife had physical had a disease. These are things that are outside of our control. All we could do there is support and be there for these people. But this particular disease, this drug addiction, this affliction, this is something that carries over into more than just the individual. It carries over into the fact that that he needed help, and he needed a support system, and for some reason, for whatever reason, it just wasn't strong enough to help him. And we lose a lot of people to these situations. Yeah, that's a fact. Same thing with OB. We lose these individuals to drugs, and we're not understanding. Well, we have people close to us who have similar situations. We need to stand by them. We need to support them. We need to help them, because we can't keep losing people for things that we potentially have the ability to control, or at least assist in them gaining control over themselves and their lives and their struggle. And maybe it goes to mental health. Maybe it goes to just understanding the dynamic of, as the episode mentions, you give an individual power, they're just gonna be more of themselves. They're just gonna be themselves with power. So, his struggle goes back to before his success. And a lot of his demons and his pain go to before his success. He poured that into his music. But we need to be able to protect our people, man. We need to be able to protect our family and protect those closest to us who need our help. When we see them struggling, when we see them going through what they're going through, it's not just, well, because he's who he is, we're gonna let him be him. No, man, we got to go hard. We got to go hard for our people. So I hope there's a lesson in this, because we can't keep losing people that simply, just on the strength of drugs, and while still advocating and promoting and exploiting the drug game. Every other rapper is bragging about the money they're getting from the drug game, and that's cool if that's what you want to brag about. That's an example of the other side of that coin. While you're bragging about the drug game, there's a man that dies from a drug overdose because you sold him drugs, or because you chose to do that. And there's always going to be somebody that's selling drugs. See, I've heard all those stories. That doesn't change the fact that start having accountability for ourselves, as well as our brothers, as well as for everybody around us. Oh, absolutely. It doesn't mean that they will accept the help, but we know that it doesn't mean that we should not put forth our best efforts to ensure that we have done our part to assist them. In many of these instances, no one wants to. I mean, there are some people who do want to die, but I'm not going to assume that that's the case in a lot of these instances, and I'm not going to assume that in many of these instances it was a matter of an accident. And we got to be there for people. We got to be there for people. And ultimately, again, my ultimate point at this particular point in time is that my message at this particular point is, don't feel, don't, oh, I feel for this man, I feel for this family, oh, I'm gonna miss him, oh, I love him, blah blah blah. But you still over here promoting and advocating the drug game. Fuck that. Can't be both. You can't mourn the guy that died from the drug game using the drugs, but then still over here be like, yeah, the drug game, this is what it is, and this is how I get my money, this is what I do. I'm no, fuck that. It's one or the other. Either we gonna start recognizing the tragedy of the people who are being killed by drugs or dying from drugs, fuck them niggas that's giving them the drugs too, because they're part of that advocacy. They're enabling that individual to be able to have that moment. So for me, all that shit's dead, and I don't respect a lot of the people that are speaking up, talking about their love for DMX and how much they appreciate him, because y'all really wasn't, y'all didn't have his back. Y'all don't have the people's back who are just like him, right around the corner of you, right next door to you, in your own family. Y'all now holding it down for these individuals. Y'all not supporting these individuals. So yeah, we got to start backing it up, man. We got to start being men, and we got to start supporting brothers, and we got to start doing what we got to do. And I mean, these are men with faculties. DMX was an intelligent brother. We know that. We've heard him speak. We've heard him build. We know that he was coherent and confident in his journey. He thought he could win, and he probably could have. But the question is, when it pulls you back in, who's going to grip you and say, nah, you ain't going that way. Bring your ass over here. Who was riding with him when he said, let's go get this work? And instead of them saying, nah, my nigga, let's go this way. Let's go over here. Let's go do this. Give him that choice. Give him an option. He didn't do that alone, and he had a support system that enabled him to be able to do those things. Because maybe whatever, we're not even gonna get into the politics of it, but the fact is wrong. And that's where we need to start taking a stand on this shit because oh, it's really getting old. We keep losing people, and drug overdose is one of those things that can be hindered. It's not something that can be just dismissed. But yeah, enough of that. Let's get to the good shit. Um, First of all, I want to shout out a couple of people that's tuned in. Peace, what's good, my brother? Glad you on. Hope you get to chop it up with me as we get into this segment, so we can get your views on some of the shit that's going on. For everybody that's in here, for everybody that's on right now, I hope that you've watched the latest episode of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier because that's what we digging into, and I dig hard. I go in, so I mean, this is spoiler zone. This is what it's all about. So we about to go hard. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's it right there. That's a fact. The same way Jim Brown did for Richard. You know, it's serious. This is a quiet storm. This is a quiet storm that brews within our community because our community is actually torn. We have the exploitation and the exaggeration and the promotion of the drug game as a means to an end. But then at the same time, we got the people that keep our fallen soldiers who keep losing to that same game. And we ain't talking about losing because they was in the game on some Scarface shit. We talking about the people who are its usage. Fuck that. Anyway, so the whole world is watching. That's what they named this episode. And this episode was powerful for a lot of different reasons. And I guess that's a pun because obviously this whole episode was about the power paradigm and the shifting of power and he who wills the power and how that power is managed by individuals. So we jump right in and we learn that Ayo, oh my goodness, I love this sister. She's responsible for the reprogramming or deprogramming of Bucky. She was the one who had his back and made sure that he got his brainwashing, his Hydra um, brainwashing cleared away. So she, and that moment, it was a powerful performance by Buck in that situation because when she started saying the words, you saw the fear, the absolute terror in his eyes, on his face that he was like, I'm gonna hurt people. She was like, I won't let you. And we know she meant it because she can talk and she can back it up because the Dora Milaje, they do what they do. So we after we learned this that there's connection between Ao and we get back to where he's talking to her and she's like, yo, why would you free the very man that's responsible for the death of my king who I was supposed to be protecting? That's some bullshit. He was like, I need him, it's a means to an end. And because of the connection that they have, she allowed him. She said, okay, you got 8 hours to do whatever you need to do with Zemo, and then we coming for him, and ain't nothing you can do about it. And Bucky knew. He understood. He was like, yeah, I got you. So he goes back and he lets them know, like, Wakanda coming, we got to rush. So there's a conversation taking place between Zemo and Sam. And the conversation deals with supremacy and Zemo is a smart mug, man. Let's just take a second and it's like every episode, Baron fucking Zemo, man. Like the dude brings it. He's always coming with some wise words that are just on point and so direct and so real and undeniable. He brings it. So he's explaining the concept. He's like the very premise of a super soldier is rooted in supremacist philosophy because whoever comes up with the serum, America, Germany, whomever, they're trying to have supremacy in war over their enemy. So the very concept of the super soldier, as he explained, is very much supremacist. And so he's trying to explain that from that supremacist perspective, it will always escalate. And during their conversations, they're talking about this, and Bucky kind of lets them know at a certain point in time, like, yo, you could be wrong because Steve. And he was like, touche, yeah, because Steve was a real one. But he's like, how many people are really like Steve? And ultimately, that was a dig at Buck. That was a dig at Sam, because Zemo is playing mind games with them, and he's digging in on them. He's going left and right in them. He's handling them. And so he's telling them like, "Yo, yeah, Sam, you not Steve. You gave up the shield. You ain't there." He telling Bucky, "We know you ain't Steve because you've been killing people for the last 80 years. You're not. There is no other Steve. So we're not going to use Steve as the argument for what super soldiers are capable of when every other super soldier that has ever existed has not done what Steve has done." And we also know that in the very essence of Steve and why he was allowed to have the super soldier to begin with, but not because of his superior physique. It was not because of his soldiering. It was not because of his loyalty to flags. It was 100% because he was a good individual. He was a good man. That was the decision that was made to give Steve the serum. At this particular point in time, nobody else has qualified themselves, and most definitely, Walker has not. Walker has not qualified himself as a good man. In fact, every moment that he is on screen, he is proving that he is not a good guy. I mean, from the very moment we first saw him, they said that he's a guy that you point him at the target and you set him free. He's a fucking arrow. You put him on the bow, you aim, and you let him go. And he goes and he kills whatever you aim him at. The problem right now is that Walker has no target specifically. Walker is a fucking arrow in the wind. And wherever the wind's going, that's who he's aiming at. And we see how that ends up later in the episode. So they're trying to figure out how to get to how to find Carly. And Carly is just, they found out that she's just bombed another center, and they decide, oh well, she looked to Danya Madani. Let's find out where Danya Madani's funeral is at, and let's try to work these angles. Boom, simple enough. So they go. Sidebar. There's this moment, one of the blackety black moments again that I love. TT comes up. Now we know who TT is. We know what a TT is. But Bucky, who's out of the loop of that whole world, I mean, let's be honest, he's only been a fucking conscious, awake individual of his own faculties for like what? Let's say maybe like a year, and then or less, and then the blip happens and he disappears, and then he comes back and he's here. He hasn't been a human being for that long, so he don't know what a TT is. He from the 40s. He don't get it. So he's like, TT, my TT said, and he's like, who is TT? What is a TT? He's like, my aunt. So I just wanted to get home and appreciate that, because again, um, they're letting Sam be authentic black. It's not a black trope; it's a true black man, and I love it. So they decide to go to this to try to find out information on his funeral. So they go to a particular location that they know Danya was at, and also Carly resided in when she was orphaned. And so Sam's striking out. Everybody he's talking to is like, "Yo, I'm not fucking with you. We don't talk to strangers. You ain't really down. The last person that said they was gonna help didn't help, etc., 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 etc." Bucky ain't got no fucking decorum whatsoever. He has no strategy. He just, you know anything? No, fuck you. And he's just got this look. Nobody definitely ain't talking to him. But then comes the Turkish delights. Here comes Zemo once again. Zemo got the skills. And Zemo steps up, talks to the little shorties, pulls out the candy, draws them up, opens up, give me information, boom, bap, the bam, done. They know where it's at. So now they out. Oh, and yes, I was gonna say this for later, but since everybody's doing it now, shout out to Kaz G. Happy born day, God. Happy, happy, happy born day. Um, Another physical degree day for you. We getting it in for you later. We gonna have some good talks. Um, yeah. Happy birthday, bro. So now we move on. we're starting to see these conversations with that Sam is identifying that he can relate to Carly's agenda. He can relate to Carly's philosophies because that's what this whole episode is about. This episode is totally about philosophies, agendas, whose side are you on, who's who, what, and how are people seeing this? So we've got the flag smashers. We've got Sam, we've got Bucky. They're not quite in agreement on some things, but there's one thing that they're absolutely in agreement about, and that's that Walker should not have the fucking shield. Point blank, period. Bucky is 100% okay with Sam having the shield, and he's willing to get that shield to Sam in any way possible. Zemo's philosophy is kind of weaving in and out of everybody's philosophies. Zemo, being a Baron, he's not necessarily against flags and territories, but he is against power being abused and corrupting and being taken to where it's in harming innocent people. Zemo has his own views that kind of align with some of theirs, and they have conversations throughout that kind of mirror everybody's views. So at this point, understanding that Carly fights for the leftovers. Carly is actually fighting for the people who are disenfranchised, who were thrust out of their homes after 5 years of prospering. They lost all of the resources and they lost everything they had, and they were put back to having nothing. Zemo constantly kind of navigates all these people, and he's watching and he's reading everybody. He's always figuring out angles of how to get in people's heads. How can I work this angle to my benefit to achieve my goal? And he moves that way. He's very swift and he's very cognitive of everybody. Or like you guys are saying, the level of emotional intelligence and the tactical genius that this bro has. Like the dude is a beast. So Sam contacts Sharon because he needs help. Sharon says, I might have access to a satellite or two. And she tells him, oh, by the way, the power broker was pissed when he found out that the scientist was dead. You know, that was the golden goose, and y'all let him die. And now Madripoor is about to go crazy because, again, there's a shift in power. Everybody knows the power broker no longer has the power. So everything's going crazy. It's about to get real. So do what y'all got to do. And she tasked them. She was like, yo, stop them. Get the serum. Ooh-wop the boo-wop the bam. Why she cares? We'll find out. So one of the things that Carly mentions in this episode while she's having a conversation with one of the smashers is she mentions that she actually believes that the shield should be destroyed. I thought that was interesting because that literally mirrors Sam's view early on in another episode where he was like, you know, if I knew what I know now, I would just as soon destroy that shield and hand it over to the government. And that's a very interesting dynamic when you pay attention to Sam and Carly's philosophies, because one of the smashers actually says that he didn't look up to anybody other than Rogers until she came along, and now he believes that she is the new Captain America fighting for everybody. That is a very important dynamic because if you think about it, where would Rogers actually be in all of this? And all of these different philosophies and all these different political agendas, who do you think Rogers would stand with? He would probably be standing in defense of the flag smashers, honestly, because Rogers himself was a flag smasher at the end of the day. So we're now looking at this situation where, again, Sam, Bucky, Zemo on their way to the funeral. Guess who shows up? Walker and Battlestar. And again, they're like, yo, why are you following us? What, leave us alone. And he's like, yo, y'all are two Avengers walking around. It's not hard to find you. Sam explains to them the plan. Yo, I'm about to go talk to Carly, and y'all gonna stand the fuck down. Walker with his angst. Oh, no, 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 I'm gonna do this. No, you're not gonna do shit. You're gonna stand back. I'm gonna go do what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna talk Carly off the ledge. And then Battlestar comes in like, yo, they right. So we're starting to see Battlestar change a little bit of his philosophy to kind of line up with the way Sam is doing things. He's believing that Sam's method is right, and he's shutting down Walker and telling Walker, like, nah, what you talking about ain't it. Chill, homie. So slowly but surely, Walker is losing the little bit of influence and power that he had is slowly dissipating. He is no longer the piece with the magnetic when it comes to his homie, because now he's like, yo, the way they talking sounds good. So you're seeing slowly but surely Walker get more and more irritated by the fact that ain't nobody respecting him, ain't nobody doing what he says, and nobody's treating him like Captain America. Because fun fact, he's not, despite having the shield. So Sam goes in, they talk their talk, and Zemo's peeping Walker getting real edgy and anxious. And Buck's like, yo, chill. He said he needs this amount of time. It ain't been that long yet. Calm down. And Walker's losing his shit. Oh, you think you hot shit because you a super soldier, because you got this going on, but you gonna leave your boy in there to die. So he's manipulating Bucky and appealing to his connection to Sam to get him to do things his way. So while Sam and Carly are vibing and kind of getting a feel for each other and learning that, hey, y'all both on the same page. Sam's explaining to her like, yo, all you're doing is switching the game up. You're not changing the world for better. You're just changing who's in control of the world, because you're doing the same shit that you're claiming is bad by killing and doing this, that, and the third. So he's giving her the jewels, and she's like, okay, I see you, bro. And then right then at that point, asshole walks in, talking his shit. Oh, you're under arrest. Like, bro, chill. You can't arrest a super soldier if you wanted to. We've already seen what happens when you try to fight super soldiers, but you go ahead and be tough. And immediately, she's like, yo, y'all working together. Is that what this is? And, Sam's like, no, no, no. Walker's like, whatever. Walks up and she puts that fist to that shield. Walker goes down. So now Carly's dead. Now everybody's scattering, trying to go after her, trying to find her. Zemo, doing his Zemo thing, he comes across her and he's like, oh, I ain't got time for little super soldier broads. Bang. And he pops her. She, being new to the game, she didn't know that wouldn't stop her. She was just afraid of getting shot. She goes and hides. Drops all the serums. Zemo sees the serum, takes a second, and says, nah, fuck that. Boom, boom, starts to crush him. And now in comes Walker, outs him, and finds one serum left, pockets it. He puts it in his pocket. Now, the thing that's interesting about this whole thing is the fact that Zemo had that moment where he hesitated. He picked it up and he looked at it like, I use this to end all of y'all motherfuckers. But then he had to come to senses like, no, because I ain't really down with this shit, and I can't use what I hate to defeat what I hate. So he just tries to destroy it. I appreciate that about my bro. I appreciate that totally. And no, I won't say that Zemo has a glass jaw, because I don't think I would want to get hit by that shield thrown by a regular person or a super soldier. I've been hit by a fucking plastic frisbee. That shit don't feel good. So him being out cold after being hit in the side of the head with a frisbee that's made of vibranium, no, not a good look. So now they're back to their respective places. Everybody has gone their separate ways. Sam and Zemo are having another conversation yet again. Seems to be a recurring thing. Because what I'm realizing now is that Zemo is actually trying, at least in my opinion, from observing, Zemo is trying to test Sam, and slowly he's trying to get in Sam's head to get Sam to take that shield, because he knows that he would rather have Sam with that shield with Sam's sentiment than to have Walker or anybody else running around with that shield. And so he keeps going at Sam with these philosophical views, trying to open Sam up to rationality and to see things on a higher level. Zemo is really on his shit. So Zemo's talking to him like, yo, if you had a chance, like, they never offered you that serum, right? But if they did, hypothetically, would you take it? And Sam was to me like, no. And he was like, no question, no hesitation. Respect, my dude. Zemo was really drawing him up, like, yo, you're worthy. Get that fucking shield, my nigga. So pay attention to how Zemo moves whenever he deals with Sam. Go back and watch some of these episodes. Zemo is trying to get Sam to step into that arena so that he can get the right person in the hands. And he keeps alluding to the fact that people aren't really on their shit, but Sam is probably the closest person to it that would actually be worthy of that shield. Because even his admittance earlier on, when Bucky was like, Steve was real, Steve was true and honest, and he didn't argue. He was like, touche. But how many of y'all are really like Steve? Like, he really acknowledges Steve's value, but his point still remained: super soldiers and what they represent got to fall because it leads to escalation. Which coincidentally, that's also what Vision explained in Age of Ultron about in Civil War, about escalation, about the fact that as they step up to defend, then that breeds conflict. Other people will challenge them, and then next thing you know, you've got all-out war. It's only the same philosophy that Zemo is revealing and recanting. So they're having this great conversation, and look who walks in: Walker, no Texas Ranger. Comes in all huff, chest out, puffing. Yo, this is what's gonna happen. Y'all gonna do this, that, and the third, and y'all gonna hand over Zemo. Zemo sipping his shit over in the cut, like, and Sam immediately shuts him down, like, look, you ain't running shit but your mouth up in here, so go out, go play over there. So at this particular moment, Walker kind of like, oh, you want to go? And if you watch at this exact moment when he starts to flex, Battlestar, as at that moment when he flexes, Battlestar looks at him like, yo, what's wrong with you, nigga? And and he puts the shield down like, let's go. And Sam kind of dismisses him like, yo, you ain't about shit. And at that exact moment when Walker's about to walk up on Sam, the Dora Milaje interject and shut shit down. What's interesting about this scene is that 99% of the time, I wager that the Dora Milaje were watching that entire time, just observing. And because of the respect and understanding of for Sam and Bucky, they were standing by just watching to see what they were going to do next, trying to decide if they were going to take Zemo or let them work with Zemo. But instead, because Walker walked in, it was like they'll be damned if Walker gets Zemo. So they said, well, we got to interject. And they come in and they interject. So Zemo's chilling, he's sipping. Sam and Bucky are watching, and Sam tells him like, "Yo, bro, do not engage these people. You'd be better off fighting Bucky, a super soldier with a metal arm, than trying to fight the Dora Milaje." And so he's like, "Whatever. They don't have no jurisdiction here." Ayo clarifies him, "Yo, wherever we go, wherever the Dora Milaje happen to find themselves, they have jurisdiction. We go and we do what the fuck we want to do. Step the fuck to the side." So Ayo lets him know point blank. So then at this point, I realize, okay, yeah, maybe, I'm a bit disrespectful because I mentioned pointy sticks and I was being a total douche. Um, he goes and decides to touch Ayo. Everybody from Battlestar to Sam to Bucky and Zemo all was like had that look on their face as he walked towards her. They all kind of, oh, like, it's a black woman. You do not touch a black woman. No, don't touch her. He touches her, puts his hand on her shoulder. Violation. All hell breaks loose, whoops his ass from there to there to there to there to there. He did not land one single blow. And it was only because Sam urged Bucky, yo, these are peoples, you go get them to calm down because they're trying to kill these dudes. And that's the only reason that shit hit the fan, is because Bucky tried to stop her from killing Walker, and then Sam tries to stop each other from killing Battlestar, and so now they're trying to defend themselves to keep them from killing these colonizers and the colonizers' assistant. So Zemo's like, okay, I think this is my cue because I don't like the odds here because they're all fighting to get me, and I ain't trying to go. So he dips, and he dips rather smoothly, I might add, still sipping and dipping. He out. So at this point, they disarm and completely defuse the situation. Ayo says, yo, you do know that we gave you the arm, and the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. And so she blip, 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 arms gone. Walker's stuck. And Shorty grabs the shield and was like, mine now, bitch. Meanwhile, and Yo is like, okay, Zemo gone while y'all fucking around. Fuck you, white boy. I don't want your book. Give him the shield. We don't need him, and we need that punk ass shield. And so they bounce. So now they out there looking for Zemo. Walker's sitting on the ground, whimpering like a little biatch. Huh, and they weren't even super soldiers. I'm such a bitch. And so him realizing that he ain't really about that life. And Bucky got disarmed. Sam just kind of was like, I told you not to fuck with them. So as Sam walks by, he just gives Walker just the eye of like, I probably would have fucked you up had you did that to me too. But he walks out like you ain't shit. So he's gone. So now they all in chaos. Everybody's all off the radar and off the reservation. And now we've got this moment where Walker and Battlestar Lamar are talking their shit about what happened. And you know now that Walker is liberating, taking the serum, and he's asking him about the serum and power and things of this nature. And Walker's like, yeah, power just makes you more of yourself, which is fucked up when you think about it, because Walker is without the serum. So that whole play is like, yo, this is not a good look. So at this point, we realize shit's about to go down. The wrong person's got the serum, and he's gonna take it. So Carly on the other side decides to call Sarah because she's trying to decide if she wants to murk Sam or not. And because he's lining himself with this Captain America. She ain't for that. And she tells Sarah, like, look, tell your boy, your brother to come see me, or I can come see you. And you don't want me to come see you and your kids, et cetera, et cetera. Because I know what the names are. I know where they live. I know all about you, Sarah. So that's the move. Sarah was like, oh shit, call Sam. Sam tells Bucky, like, yo, she threatened my family. She wants to meet. Bucky on that G shit, like, I'm coming with you, bro. I don't give a fuck what she talking about. I'm coming. I ain't letting you walk into the den of super soldiers without a super soldier. So ride or die right there. So ultimately, we realized that Carly was making a hollow threat. Really, she was just trying to see where Sam's head was by seeing what his sister would say about him. And the sister held it down and made it clear Sam ain't down for that dude. Sam don't even like that dude. Sam ain't working for the new cap. And she was like, okay, if you right, cool. So now we get to this point where Sam is on his way to meet up with Carly. Sharon lets him, like, as they meet, I should say, as they're sitting talking to Carly. Again, Carly's like, yo, I just want to know, I want you to join me, but if you don't join me, at least just let me go do what I'm doing and you go about your business. What's interesting at this particular point that I realized was when Sharon makes the call to tell them that Walker has found the Smashers, or the Smashers have found Walker, depending on how you look at it, it occurred to me at that particular point that that whole "I want to meet with you, Sam" was legit, but also a diversion. They wanted to separate Sam from Walker so that they can take out Walker. The only problem is that no one was aware that Walker had the serum, and so that shit backfired hardcore. So Sam realizes that Walker's about to walk into his thieves and get his ass murked. So they like, yo, Walker's on some bullshit, and they try to go, and that's when you see Carly try to stop them, because that was what Carly was doing. She was stalling them while Walker gets taken out without their involvement. They all end up going to this place. Battlestar gets nabbed because Battlestar, he followed around an idiot into a super soldier hive. Like, what the fuck you think was going to happen? So Battlestar's gone. Walker's walking through the place, and we start to see that Walker took the serum. He's beating the brakes off of one of the Smashers. Like, and Sam comes in and sees this and is like shocked and appalled. He was like, the fuck? Are you stupid? You didn't. You tell me you didn't. You didn't. What did you do? He already knew. So Walker's all like ignoring, like, oh, they took Battlestar. That's the focus. So now Sam's like, okay, I gotta go help my brother. So now they all are engaging again, fighting with the Smashers. You have to appreciate Sam being this simple guy, but he was handling these super soldiers. Once he put his mind to it and he put his skill sets into play, he was handling them. And I was appreciative of how he was using his tech as a means to fight them off. Meanwhile, Lamar is freeing himself, and he decides to come into the fight and save Walker because Walker needs saving. And immediately, Battlestar gets put in his place. And I mean, he got put in his place so bad. Carly punched him so hard. I'm pretty sure that his bird chest is gone. Like it's gone. Like there is nothing here anymore. He doesn't even have ribs. He doesn't have a frame. His whole frame. He tore it, just dismantled him. He flew back into the pillar. So just in case he wasn't dead from the punch to the chest, he probably was dead from the impact against the pillar. And immediately Walker goes ape shit. And the worst part about that moment is that everybody knew at that singular moment when Battlestar's body hit that wall and then went limp, Sam stopped, Bucky stopped, the Smasher stopped, Carly stopped and was like, oh shit, and dipped and was gone. They all scattered because they knew this nigga was gone. He was about to lose his shit. So Walker chases down a Smasher. And in chasing down this Smasher, he gets to this point where he is on top of this Smasher. And literally, this Smasher is pleading for his life. Think about this. Captain America has a guy pinned with his shield over his head, and the guy is pleading, "It wasn't me. It wasn't me. Don't kill me." And this guy literally kills him with the shield. He uses the defensive weapon as a tool of murder, something that has never been done before, ever, 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 ever. In the history of that shield, it has never been used in that way. It's not supposed to be used in that way. It's a tool of defense. You are never the aggressor with that shield. So he kills the Smasher, and the whole world is watching. Everybody is cameras out, YouTube and IG Live, and everybody is showcasing this shit. Everybody saw this moment. Captain America kills a man. And then you get this most iconic and ironic scene of this man holding this shield with the blood stains all over it. And the scene is just kind of like, it's going to be a historic scene, and it's going to be etched in our brain, like Cap saying Hail Hydra, or the scene where Cap and Iron Man face off and the repulsor and shield. It's like, these are iconic moments. This dude is standing with the American Captain America shield, a representation of America with blood on it. If the irony of that moment is lost on anybody, just take a moment and think about what that is. On the world stage, Captain America killed a guy that he identified as a terrorist, but who they themselves identify themselves as revolutionaries. He killed this man on the world stage for all to see in cold blood. That was this show is perfect. This show is perfect. This show has not pulled a punch. It ain't going back. It's giving you all the juice. It's giving you everything that you could want in a show about politics, about what America represents, what America doesn't represent, what the military does, what the military don't do, about individuals and how their philosophies line up and don't line up, and everything. This show is crazy, and it all stems from this single idea of what this shield represents and what allegiances people have in relation to this shield. Does the shield represent power? No, the shield doesn't represent power. It's not supposed to represent power. When Cap was first given that shield, or the original symbolic shield when he first became Captain America. Remember, he was a propaganda tool to get people to join the military during the war. He immediately was like, I ain't for that. I ain't no fucking clown. I don't do tricks. And he bounced. He disobeyed orders and he went off and he rescued people behind enemy lines. Not because he was given orders, but because it was the right thing to do and no one else would do it. And he was willing to put himself on the line to save innocent people. That's what the shield represents. It's not about power, but it's about interrupting the misuse of power, disrupting people who are exploitive of power. And in every instance, that's all we saw Cap ever do. Anytime he saw power trying to step in and take control of him or that shield, he would go the opposite direction. He annexed himself from American military, then he annexed himself from Shield, then he annexed himself from the Avengers, then he annexed himself from everybody. He said, "Fuck all of y'all." He doesn't do that. Here we have another person who uses the shield for his own personal agenda, his own narcissistic, self-absorbed, self-centered idea that it's all about me and it's all about what I'm trying to accomplish because I want respect and I want to prove my value. I want to prove that I'm Captain America. All these I'm trying to prove instead of just doing what is right, which we're finding that Sam is proving more and more as this show progresses, that he is very much, at least in philosophy, aligning himself with what that shield represents, whether he realizes it or not. And that's a great stance to watch unfold because he didn't start out that way. He started out very much in conflict and disagreeable to the philosophy of what the shield represents, which is why he gave it up. Now, in terms of Walker and will he get in trouble, it's not a question of will he get in trouble. It's a question of how can he get in trouble? He's now a super soldier who has lost his fucking mind. If they come for him, the question is, what did he actually do? Did he do something that goes against what his mission was? That's the question. Did Walker go against the mission? No. Walker did not go against the mission. He killed a person, yes, but we don't know if he had autonomy, being the fact that, you know, Captain America, government interest, and these people are identified as terrorists. You know, whenever there's a terrorist, their lives are expendable, and really, why would you keep them? Just to put them in Guantanamo or put them in some other black water site? Nah. I think that they may debrief him and try to put a spin on the scenario, but I don't know. I'm not sure about trouble. I don't even know what trouble would necessarily look like in that instance. What would we expect trouble to actually look like? That's the question. So we can talk about that on the next segment as we get into our conversation, because I would like to know what you guys think about that in terms of um, his actions and will there be consequences and what those consequences could possibly look like, being that he is now a super soldier and pretty much will probably fuck up anybody that came at him wrong. So, and that's true power. He does have Lamar's death as a justification. You know, a soldier was killed in the skirmish, so I ended up killing one of their own. So it's a lot of variables to that, because the question is, again, since we're in the stage where post blip, all of these various governments are trying to gain back their individuality. They're trying to build their borders back, and they're trying to become the powers that they once were. Would that also include America being proud to have that message displayed to the world, that Captain America will kill if you challenge us and if you go against us? We have this guy as our shield who will interfere and will fuck you up. which I think that the way things are kind of being presented right now, the generalization of the idea is that America is trying to rebuild its borders, and it needs that on the world scale, that fear to be presented, that terror, that they will not go light on terrorists, and that they will not take terrorism lightly. So, you know, while the world may not like it, it may fit and align with the agenda and the plan all along in the first place. So it's a lot. That's a lot to think of. And who does the government bring in to take on a rogue cap? Well, if he's rogue, that's what we got to see. We don't know if he's rogue yet because he's still operating under his own authority. And if he can justify what he did, you know, hey, ha, Zemo. Right. Zemo gonna come for the ass once he found out that he got that super soldier serum in his veins. He come for him. But at this point, I don't think that I don't think that he will be allowed to be Captain America on the world stage necessarily. I think once the government finds out that he took the super soldier serum, I think they're going to put him in that program where they use him like how Steve was used during the Winter Soldier. He's going to go and he's going to do some espionage missions, and that means a lot less Flash and a lot more U.S. agent. That's what I think will probably happen. I think that they're going to find a better use for him now that he has a super soldier serum. And I think that that's where the shield gets removed and placed into a different position. So we'll see, because now the question that also remains is, number one, where is Zemo? I mean, is he that slick that he can outmaneuver the Dora Milaje? Will he be able to stay hidden? Will he go back to? He'll probably go back to Madripoor. He'll probably go sit somewhere with Sharon and be like, "Yo, Sharon, I need some help," whatever. Who knows what Zemo gonna do? But there's options on that. I mean, we know that Rhodes is still around in terms of Rhodes being a guy that they can call for to address him. But I don't even know. I don't even know. I'm not confident that there will be like any real consequences in terms of Walker killing that guy on the world stage. For us, it's a horrible thing, but I do think that how many times have we watched a police officer kill someone on the world stage, um, and it was justifiable? Um, so at the end of the day, Captain America, as he exists in the context of this paradigm, is the world police for America. And as a world policeman just shot a perp in line of duty, and they're gonna back him up. They're gonna hold their own down, and they're gonna stand by him because, again, I think it works better that he demonstrated that brutalness on the world stage to let people know, okay, we back. This is post blip. All y'all with this border shit, we're the shit. Don't fuck with us because we got Cap, and he will come and fuck you up. So that's just possibly what I think, but I'm definitely interested in hearing other people's views on that and how you guys really see that playing out, because that's the key right now. What will happen? And not only that, they're talking about the next episode. There's supposed to be a character played by a famous actor that's supposed to appear in it. And I take that with a grain of salt, because the last time that happened, it was Paul Bettany talking about himself. And then the last time we got a Quicksilver, it was actually Boner. So I'm not even interested in considering who that guest is. But the only thing that I can think is that it ties somehow into what just happened. He should get the dark blood treatment. Free dark blood. You know what? Yeah. It's the way that they're playing this out is very interesting. Hey man, Handle Dark Blood is not gone. I'm telling you, he is not gone. Oh, K Max, you came in the last few minutes. That's cool though. We're about to switch gears so we can add y'all on and have that real conversation. Um, but yeah, I'm looking forward to getting y'all feedback and getting y'all thoughts on this. So I'm about to shut this down, and then we can tune in into the next stage of this.